thinking creates weak results. It always has, and it always will. The mind is the workshop where life is shaped. If the thinking is shallow, the results will be shallow. If the thinking is disciplined, the results will be strong. Life does not reward careless thoughts any more than a builder is rewarded for careless blueprints. When I was younger, I didn't understand this. I thought success came from luck, or talent, or chance. But then I realized everything begins with how you think. A weak thought says, I'll get by. A strong thought says, I'll get better. A weak thought says, it doesn't matter. A strong thought says, every choice matters. The difference between those two lines of thinking is the difference between a year wasted and a year invested. Consider health. Weak thinking says, one more donut won't hurt. Strong thinking says, each decision adds up. Weak thinking says, I'll start tomorrow. Strong thinking says, I'll start now. And a year later, the results show. Weak thinking always looks for comfort. Strong thinking looks for progress. The same in finances. Weak thinking spends without plan. Strong thinking saves and invests. Weak thinking buys appearances. Strong thinking builds security. A paycheck in the hands of weak thinking disappears. A paycheck in the hands of strong thinking multiplies. Relationships are no different. Weak thinking says, they already know I care. Strong thinking says, I'll show them today. Weak thinking avoids the hard conversations. Strong thinking faces them with honesty. Weak thinking criticizes. Strong thinking encourages. And the results in a year are worlds apart. Weak thinking is the easy path. It avoids responsibility, avoids discipline, avoids truth. But here's the trap. It feels good in the moment and costs dearly in the end. Strong thinking is harder up front, but it pays richly later. The mind is like a factory. If you feed it weak raw materials, excuses, complaints, blame, it produces weak products. But if you feed it strong materials, ideas, discipline, vision, it produces strong results. What you allow in determines what comes out. So the question is not whether life is fair. The question is, how are you thinking? Because weak thinking has never built strength, and it never will. If you want strong results, you must first demand strong thinking. Now, let's break this down a little further. Weak thinking shows up in the form of excuses. Excuses are the language of weakness. It's too hard. It's not my fault. I'll never catch a break. That's weak thinking, and it leads to weak living. Strong thinkers don't waste energy on excuses. They use that energy to search for answers. I've watched two people in the same circumstances. One says, there's no chance for me, and the other says, I'll find a way. One accepts weakness as destiny. The other builds strength through determination. Same problem, different thinking. And the results are as different as night and day. Weak thinking also hides in procrastination. I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the hiding place of weakness. And the trouble with tomorrow is that it keeps sliding forward. Weak thinking postpones. Strong thinking acts. Weak thinking wastes the day. Strong thinking seizes it. And then there's blame. Weak thinking says, it's the government, it's the boss, it's the economy. But here's the truth. As long as you hand your power over to someone else, you've weakened yourself. Strong thinking takes responsibility. It says, if it's to be, it's up to me. That thought alone can turn a weak life into a strong one. I'll tell you another sign of weak thinking. Settling for average. Weak thinking says, at least I'm doing okay. Strong thinking says, how much better can I become? Weak thinking tolerates mediocrity. Strong thinking pursues excellence, and the pursuit of excellence always produces stronger results. But let's not miss this. Strong thinking is not arrogance. It's not boasting. It's discipline. It's clarity. It's direction. Weak thinking is sloppy. Strong thinking is focused. Weak thinking wanders. Strong thinking walks with purpose. And here's something to keep in mind. Weak thoughts left unchecked become weak habits. Weak habits repeated become weak character. And weak character produces weak results. But the reverse is also true. Strong thoughts become strong habits. Strong habits build strong character. And strong character produces strong results. So you can see how important this is. It's not just about thinking positive. Weak thinking dressed up as optimism is still weak. Strong thinking is more than optimism. It's responsibility, discipline, truth, and vision. If you want strong results, you've got to first toughen up your thoughts. Start catching the weak ones. Challenge them. Replace them. Don't let excuses live in your mind. Don't let procrastination write your story. Don't let blame steal your strength. Weak thinking is the thief of progress. And the sooner you lock the door on it, the sooner you start producing results worth having. Now let's look at how weak thinking disguises itself. It doesn't always sound lazy. Sometimes it sounds logical, even reasonable. But reasonable is not always strong. Weak thinking says, I don't have the time. Strong thinking says, I'll make the time. Weak thinking says, I don't know how. Strong thinking says, I'll learn how. Weak thinking says, nobody's doing it. Strong thinking says, I'll do it, even if I'm the first. On the surface, both sound practical, but one builds limitation, the other builds possibility. Weak thinking also hides in comparison. They're ahead of me. They're smarter. They're luckier. That's weakness, because it shifts the focus from what you can control to what you cannot. Strong thinking doesn't worry about someone else's race. It says, I'll run my own. I'll use what I have. I'll build with what's in my hands. That's power. Another disguise of weak thinking is the belief that small choices don't matter. It's just one meal. It's just $1. It's just one day. But a string of just ones creates a weak year. Strong thinking knows that every choice is a brick, and a wall is built brick by brick. Nothing is small when it shapes the future. And let's talk about fear. Weak thinking lets fear make the decisions. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I lose? Fear paralyzes weak minds. Strong thinking feels the fear but moves anyway. Strong thinking asks, what if I succeed? What if I grow? What if I win? Weak thinking magnifies danger. Strong thinking magnifies opportunity. You see, results don't lie. If the thinking is weak, the harvest will be weak. If the thinking is strong, the harvest will be strong. The mind is the starting point of every achievement, and weakness at the start guarantees weakness at the finish. I like to say, weak thinking plays checkers, strong thinking plays chess. Checkers reacts, chess anticipates. Checkers moves fast without depth. Chess takes time, strategy, foresight. Weak thinking looks at the moment. Strong thinking looks at the year, the decade, the lifetime. And when you think long, you build strong. So here's the challenge. Don't just watch your thoughts. Weigh them. Ask, is this thought building strength, or is it making me weak? If it's making you weak, reject it. Replace it. Refuse to let it take root. Because one weak thought today becomes one weak result tomorrow, and one weak result tomorrow becomes a weak life. The power of choice is in your hands. But the origin of choice is in your mind. Strength begins inside, and it always shows outside. Now let's talk about the practical consequences of weak thinking. Because weak thinking doesn't just stay in the mind, it leaks into behavior, and behavior always shows up in results. Look at health. Weak thinking says, I'm too tired to exercise. Strong thinking says, if I move my body, I'll gain energy. Weak thinking says, I'll eat what I want. Life's too short. Strong thinking says, I'll eat what serves me. Life's too valuable. A year later, the weak thinker has a weak body. The strong thinker has a strong one. Look at money. Weak thinking spends it all, often before it's even earned. Strong thinking tells each dollar where to go. Weak thinking says, I can't save because I don't make enough. Strong thinking says, I'll save something no matter how little. And over time, the results separate the two. Weak thinking builds debt. Strong thinking builds wealth. Look at work. Weak thinking says, I'll do just enough. Strong thinking says, I'll do more than I'm paid for, so one day I'll be paid for more than I do. Weak thinking looks for shortcuts. Strong thinking looks for skills. Weak thinking hides from responsibility. Strong thinking seeks it out, and the results show up in promotions, in opportunities, in influence. Look at relationships. Weak thinking says it's their fault. Strong thinking says, what can I do to make it better? Weak thinking takes people for granted. Strong thinking appreciates them daily. Weak thinking avoids the hard talk. Strong thinking has it because truth builds strength. And again, the results show. Weak thinking produces weak connections. Strong thinking produces strong bonds. You see, weak thinking isn't just a private matter. It's a public story. People can see it. They can see it in your health, in your finances, in your work, in your relationships. Weak results never hide. They stand as proof of the thoughts behind them. And here's the danger. Weak thinking loves company. It surrounds itself with others who think the same way. People who complain together, make excuses together, procrastinate together. But strong thinkers know the value of association. They seek out the thinkers who stretch them, who challenge them, who demand better. Because weak associations multiply weakness, and strong associations multiply strength. So if you want to change your results, you must first change your thinking. Not someday, not next week, now. Start catching yourself when the weak thoughts creep in. Challenge them. Replace them with strong ones. Because the difference between a weak life and a strong one is not luck, not chance, not fortune. It's the quality of thought. Weak thinking creates weak results. Strong thinking creates strong results. And the moment you decide to strengthen your thinking is the moment you begin to strengthen your life. Let's take this deeper. Weak thinking doesn't just damage the present, it weakens the future. Every weak thought is like a crack in the foundation. It may not collapse today, but given enough time, the structure can't hold. Think about opportunities. Weak thinking misses them. It says, that's too risky. That's too much work. That's not for me. Opportunities don't vanish. They go to someone else. Strong thinking says, if it's a challenge, I'll grow into it. If it's uncertain, I'll learn. If it's possible, I'll try. And the one who thinks strong gets the opportunity, not because it was easier, but because their mind was prepared to see it. Weak thinking also limits vision. It says, this is enough. Why ask for more? Why aim higher? Strong thinking says, I've only scratched the surface. There's more potential, more contribution, more growth ahead. Weak thinking sets ceilings. Strong thinking breaks them. And the results show. One life stuck in smallness, the other life expanding. Now let's bring this to leadership. Weak thinking in a leader produces weak teams. If the leader complains, the team complains. If the leader avoids responsibility, the team avoids responsibility. But strong thinking multiplies. If the leader faces pressure with clarity, the team follows. If the leader makes decisions with courage, the team finds courage. Thinking cascades downward. Weak or strong, it never stops at the top. Even nations reveal the power of thinking. Weak thinking tolerates corruption, waste, decline. Strong thinking demands accountability, vision, effort. The history books are filled with examples of societies that crumbled, not because they lacked resources, but because they lacked strong thought. Weak ideas corroded the foundation until collapse was inevitable. So this is bigger than just personal improvement. Strong thinking isn't only about earning more money, building more health, creating better relationships. It's about building a life that can stand. It's about building a future that won't collapse under pressure. And let me add this, weak thinking is contagious. You spend enough time around people who excuse, delay, complain, and you'll start to sound like them. But strong thinking is also contagious. Surround yourself with people who plan, who discipline, who act, and your thinking lifts. That's why association is so critical. The mind feeds on the company it keeps. Here's the real truth. Weak thinking is always easier. It asks nothing. It costs nothing. It risks nothing. But it produces nothing of value. Strong thinking costs discipline, costs courage, costs honesty, but it produces results worth having. And a life without results, no matter how easy, is not a life of fulfillment. So ask yourself, am I building cracks in my foundation with weak thoughts? Or am I strengthening the walls with strong ones? Because the future will reveal the answer. Weak thinking always builds weakness. Strong thinking always builds strength. Now let's widen the frame. Weak thinking doesn't just show up in health, wealth, work, and relationships. It shows up in how you handle life itself. Take adversity. Weak thinking says, why me? Strong thinking says, why not me? Let this test refine me. Weak thinking looks for escape. Strong thinking looks for endurance. Weak thinking magnifies the problem. Strong thinking magnifies the lesson. And the difference between those two mindsets determines whether adversity destroys you or develops you. Consider discipline. Weak thinking treats discipline as punishment. I can't have what I want. I'm restricted. I'm deprived. That mindset makes discipline unbearable. Strong thinking sees discipline as freedom. I'm free from regret, free from weakness, free from dependency. Same practice, different frame. And the frame determines whether discipline becomes a burden or a blessing. Look at contribution. Weak thinking says, what can I get? Strong thinking says, what can I give? Weak thinking hoards, fears, clutches. Strong thinking shares, serves, invests. Weak thinking creates scarcity. Strong thinking creates abundance. And over a year, over a lifetime, those two patterns write very different stories. Even in leadership at home, weak thinking as a parent says, I don't have time. Strong thinking says, I'll make time. Weak thinking says, do as I say. Strong thinking says, watch what I do. Weak thinking says, I hope my kids turn out. Strong thinking says, I'll train, teach, and guide until they do. Now notice something. Weak thinking always avoids responsibility. That's the common thread. Whether it's health, wealth, relationships, adversity, or leadership, weak thinking says, not me. Strong thinking says, I'll take it on. Weak thinking hides. Strong thinking steps forward. And here's the irony. People with weak thinking often admire those with strong results. They see the athlete, the leader, the entrepreneur, the person of influence, and they say, aren't they lucky? But luck had little to do with it. Strong thinking had everything to do with it. This is why philosophy matters so much. Your philosophy is simply the sum of your strongest thoughts. It's the lens through which you see life. If the lens is weak, the results will always be weak. If the lens is strong, the results will reflect that strength. So let's make it practical. Examine your thinking in each area. In health, is it strong or weak? In money, is it strong or weak? In relationships, is it strong or weak? In work, in discipline, in leadership, in contribution, strong or weak? The answer to that question predicts your future better than any horoscope, forecast, or guess. Weak thinking creates weak results. Strong thinking creates strong results. It cannot be otherwise. The mind writes the script, and life performs it on stage. Now let me lift the energy. Weak thinking is not destiny. It can be changed. That's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck in weak results. You can strengthen your mind starting tonight. How? First, by awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Start listening to yourself. Catch the weak phrases. I can't. It's too hard. I'll never. Those words are signals. They tell you where weakness is living in your thoughts. Awareness is the first crack of light into a dark room. Second, feed your mind with strength. Read strong books. Listen to strong ideas. Associate with strong people. Weak thinking thrives on junk food for the mind. Complaints, gossip, distraction. Strong thinking thrives on nourishment. Principles Wisdom Challenge. What you feed grows, and what you starve dies. Third, practice discipline in thought the way you practice it in action. Don't allow every thought free access. Guard the door. Ask, does this thought serve me or weaken me? Does it build or does it break? If it weakens, dismiss it. If it builds, strengthen it. Thinking is like muscle. It grows stronger when exercised. Fourth, take small steps of strong action. Action confirms thought. If you think strong but act weak, the mind learns confusion. But when you think strong and act strong, even in small ways, you reinforce the pattern. Skip the excuse, do the work. Skip the blame, take responsibility. Skip the delay, take the step. Every strong action makes the next strong thought easier. And fifth, remember this. Results are the ultimate proof. Weak thinking can argue, but results don't lie. If your results are weak, look back at your thoughts. That's where the repair must begin. Strong results always trace back to strong thinking. So the challenge is clear. Replace weakness with strength. Replace excuses with responsibility. Replace procrastination with urgency. Replace blame with ownership. Replace fear with courage. These are choices, not fate. And the reward? A year from now, your life can look radically different. Not by accident, but by design. Stronger body, stronger finances, stronger relationships, stronger influence, all born from stronger thinking. Weak thinking creates weak results. Strong thinking creates strong results. That law doesn't bend for anyone. But once you choose it, once you embrace it, once you live it, you'll discover that strength builds more strength. And soon, you'll be standing in a life you once thought impossible. So let's finish where we began. Weak thinking creates weak results. It always has. It always will. The results in your life today are the direct offspring of yesterday's thoughts. The results in your life a year from now will be the offspring of the thoughts you choose tonight. The danger of weak thinking is that it feels safe. It whispers, don't try. don't risk, don't stretch. And in the moment, that feels comfortable. But over time, it costs everything: health, wealth, respect, opportunity. Weak thinking slowly empties a life until nothing strong remains. Strong thinking does the opposite. It pushes you. It challenges you. It says, do more, learn more, give more, become more. And while that feels heavy in the moment, it produces lightness later. It produces pride instead of regret, achievement instead of excuses, strength instead of weakness. Here's the decision you must make. Will you let weakness write your story, or will you let strength write it? Because your life will not be written by chance. It will be written by thought, then by action, then by habit, then by results. Weak at the start, weak at the end. Strong at the start, strong at the end. The mind is the workshop of your future. Guard it, train it, discipline it. Because if you let it run wild, it will settle for weakness. But if you take control, if you aim it at strength, if you feed it what it needs, then you unlock results you never thought possible. So tonight I challenge you. Identify one area where weak thinking has been stealing from you. Health, money, relationships, discipline. Wherever it is, call it out. Then replace it with one strong thought. Guard it, act on it, repeat it, do that, and you begin the process of transformation. Remember, nobody drifts into strength. Nobody stumbles into excellence. Nobody wakes up one day with strong results by accident. They are built. And the building material is thought. So the choice is simple: weak thoughts or strong thoughts, weak results or strong results. Your life is waiting to reflect, whichever you decide. Weak thinking creates weak results. Strong thinking creates strong results. And the time to choose is not tomorrow, it's tonight.